play the game during the break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trust me, it's not a game that'll take a... Hang on. Just... There
All
we go.
right.
Muted. Right. But it's a game that takes about 30 seconds to, like, get the controls, if that. It's just, I'm trying to figure out how you're actually supposed to do multiplayer, because, like, on especially, like, 12-player multiplayer on a... Because it was originally, like, a touchscreen game.
And it's like, my computer literally does not have that many input device slots.
Well, like on a PC, you can do it, like, provided if you keyboard, controller,
Right.
mouse. But I'm like, on a touchscreen, 12 people.
Yeah.
Especially because most touch screens are 10-point.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I suppose an iPad, that would work, but I'm like, on a phone? Wow.
Yeah, there's just a number of fingers you're trying to fit into a certain amount of space that can be problematic.
Yeah, well, we'll get into it when we get into it. But
I heard Ted Cruz likes a porn like that.
God damn it, Hoger.
Like, he's too busy attacking Mark Hamill. I'm not even joking about that.
That is the stupidest fight he's ever gotten into.
What's he attacking Mark Hamill for?
We can discuss it in the break. Let's do the review first.
Yeah. Like, focus here.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, the layout's good and the audio's good.
Oh, right. I need to put the provided by. This is provided by Humble Hearts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trey went the fuck, man.
Humble Heart's lovely little cottage. Disclaimer, I don't know if they're actually a limited liability corporation or not.
They are. Humble
Okay.
Hearts LLC.
I thought so, but I wasn't 100% sure.
I will put that in just to make sure. No. Yes. Okay. Is everybody ready?
Aye.
Well, that depends on how you define ready.
I
realize I should be joking about that less than usual, since I am technically...
Yeah, that's...
This time.
I'm ready.
All right, then.
Yep.
You good, Golix?
Uh-huh.
All right, then. We begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1...
Welcome to the final installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews for the year. We got 2 games up this week, especially since 9 Parchments got delayed, as that gets fixed. But this week we've got, first up, Never Stop Sneakin', the latest release from Humble Hearts. They have Dust on Elysian Tale fame. We recently did an interview on Wednesday about it. If you want to learn more about the game, go check that out. This is a bit of an unusual situation for us because, we usually review the PC versions of a game because that's usually that's the platform we all have. But there is a PC version. I don't know how known that is, but that aside, that's
this is not out yet.
Yeah, it's coming out in 2018 sometime.
Mhm.
But like right now, Dean is focused on European localization and Japanese localization of the Switch version. The Switch version came out first and is a de facto exclusive to the platform.
Mhm.
That's not due to any contract. That's just he is one person, and porting takes time. Localization takes time. That kind of thing. So, what we got is the North American Switch version of the game, or rather, Galix got it because he is currently the only team member here who has a Nintendo Switch.
I feel
Like-
bad for you guys.
Like, I really don't want one. Like, it's just another device I wouldn't ever play because I've got like all of the Steam games.
Fair enough.
Like that aside, your Galix here is taking up the review mantle because he's the only one here who's actually played the game. So, without further ado, take it away.
So we talked about this game during the interview some, but it's a stealth game with a uniquely very simple control scheme. Literally, the only input you do in the game is move around, either with a analog stick or with the buttons or D-pad, D buttons on the Switch, or it's actually touchscreen compatible for either use when the Switch is in handheld or portable mode, or eventually when it's on PC or mobile. So it's very easy technically to play. The visuals we talked about are pretty much PlayStation 1, maybe early PS2 style. It's very looks kind of like it's almost parodying the Metal Gear series, which is Metal Gear Solid 1, which in a lot of ways the game is, from the sort of background music to the look to the opening song. So the conceit of this game is that you are a special agent working for a organization who are trying to rescue all of the U.S. presidents from Amadeus Guildenstern, who developed a time machine and stole them. And the time machine is also important to the plot because that is why it has the roguelike progression that it does. You start out with literally your secret base is a tent, and you have to break into the lab and get tools and rescue things to build up your base more. And the thing is, with the time machine, every time you leave, he just rewinds time inside the base to before you entered, so you don't make any progress. And like the areas are just different because he goes back in time and remakes them every time you play through, which is how you get the playability of the different runs. At the beginning, you're playing through 3 stages, which are pretty short. Then you get access cards to unlock deeper things, and as you build your base up more, you get further stuff. A lot of this, so it's not just stealth. You do have action things, but they're all done automatically. You can find bullets, EMP grenades, and smoke grenades. The bullets, if you trip into the sight cone of a guard, the bullet will shoot them. The EMP grenades, if you hit a camera or if you get in the view of a camera, it'll go off. And the smoke grenades, I forget what tricks them because I never have. I think they block guards, but only if you don't have a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And bullets are usually more plentiful because you can buy. There's a shop system. You get intel that you can comes in little crystal forms, abstracted, and you can use that to buy things at the agent robot that sneaks in ahead of you. There's almost always one like right before the boss in the first set of 3 levels, so you can get bullets that way. You can also collect packages, which are sometimes basically what it is. There'll be footprints you can see on the It's a top-down view. There will be footprints. If you stand in the footprints, you hack a computer or something, which either you get the intel money, or you get a power up which increases how often like bullets or health drop from enemies, which is not very often even after you get like level 3 of the power ups. Or there's one that gets you more intel money. Or you can get a key card that lets you unlock a locked door somewhere that you go in and usually get a power up, or you can get a package, and the packages go to score, which at the end of the mission you get more resources based on that. The tone of the game is very parodic and funny. I was laughing when I was playing right before we started this because I just unlocked one of the bonus. There are lots of different character skins and weapon skins you can play as, but they're all cosmetic. And I unlocked Agent Helicopter after I beat a helicopter boss. It's a helicopter. It still uses a pistol and a sword.
Yep.
Or if you use alternate weapons, it uses a wrench and a bolt gun, or a hockey mask and a hockey stick. They all work the same. The sword is used for if you sneak up behind a sentry turret or a guard, you sword it, and that defeats it without wasting a bullet. You do want to be taking out enemies when you can, because that gets you more. It's called ESP, actually, the intel money.
So unlike like something like Metal Gear, where you want to, or Splinter Cell, where you want to avoid enemies, you still want to be taking dudes out, just seeing as little as possible.
You want to be backstabbing guards, and the guards' AI is not very good. They respond if you trigger a camera. They try to attack you, but otherwise they pretty much just walk around in set, or like they react to if you open a door or something, but not very hard.
Mhm.
So it's not that hard to get around behind them, and if you kill a lot of guys in a row, you get score multipliers.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they're all slow, and the every 3 stages about there's a boss. The bosses are all interesting, and they have different ways of fighting them, because obviously you don't do much actual fighting, or rather because there's no buttons, so you don't like have like, oh, I'm gonna shoot this guy with this thing. The helicopter boss, every so often during the fight, a rocket launcher spawns, and you have to go and pick up the rocket launcher. And then while the helicopter is shooting at you and there's cover, you have to get so that there's a clean line between you and it, and then a little meteor fills up over your head the same way it does for when you're doing the hacking, and you shoot a missile at it. And then it goes berserk a little bit, and then rinse and repeat. I think there's psychiatrists that you have to hit each of them twice, and there are 4 of them, but you have to basically either freeze them or run around behind them. There's one thing that is a guy in a jetpack that you have to like trigger computer terminals to set up a electrified wire that they'll fly into. So they're all a little bit different. I haven't seen that many because I still haven't played this game as much as I wanted to, and I'm gonna keep playing it some after this because it's a lot of fun, and it's really good for short play sessions. So it's easy to just pick up and, oh hey, I'm waiting for something. I'm just gonna play Never Stop Sneakin' for a while. But yeah, there's a good amount of variety. The stages, when you go into them, every set of 3 rooms will have a different aesthetic, which has some slightly different set pieces. Like there are some areas where there are like sliding doors that you open through automatically, and guards can go through. There are some areas where instead there will be like thin wooden walls you can break through, but then the guards can't see through them before, but then they'll go through afterwards. Again, they're not very smart because they're not like more aggressive after you've broken through it. It's just that they can see there. So yeah, the performance has been good on the Switch. I've only had one game really that wasn't, which is when I've been playing Moon Hunters. It's a little bit janky sometimes, so I guess that's one of the advantages of working with a console. You know what you're dealing with, and this runs pretty smoothly. The music is fitting for the thing. The voice acting is very funny.
Is it like, late 90s kind of cheesy, or do like the actual voice actors kind of try and play it straight?
It's kind of like Metal Gear. I mean, your commanding officer is played by Aaron Hansen. He's going full cheese. This is the guy who, at the opening scenario of the game, is in a helicopter and like jumps out of the helicopter. His coffee flies out of the helicopter. He jumps out of the helicopter. He grabs the coffee midair and then does a superhero landing. So, you know.
That sounds like something Egoraptor would do.
Yeah, it's full cheese. Very again, I'm going to compare this to like Metal Gear Solid, where you have the acting for that game is very distinctive, very like sort of serious, but in a hammy way. But this game is a little bit more self-aware, and there's a little. I mean, obviously, this game is sillier than Metal Gear. Metal Gear may have like psychic animal people, but it doesn't have Agent Helicopter.
That's coming in 6.
Although the default character for this, I think Dean said she's actually a woman, but she looks a lot like Raiden, only with like spikier hair, like a full-on Super Nintendo style, almost Goku hair.
So what you're saying is generic Animu number 642.
And the skins are all cosmetic, so it doesn't matter who you play as. There is probably something for everything. I just recently rescued the engineer that was going to build our underground base, and he became instantly a playable character. And you can even, in the middle of a mission, if you want, you can change what agent you're using and what weapon set you're using. So yeah, the first 4 you start with are Hummingbird, who is a, looks like Raiden. Turtle Dove, who is a darker skinned guy with really tall hair. Nightingale, who is a light-skinned guy with really tall hair, and Sparrow, who is a lady with an afro, and then Engineer Parsons, and then way down the list is Agent Helicopter.
Oh, I was about to say, so there's like no difference between the characters; they're all just skins, right?
Yeah, they're skins. I mean, they're different people, I guess, but they're all completely interchangeable and can be swapped around whenever you want.
Okay, so there's no difference between using one dude and another.
Nope, everything works the same. It doesn't matter whether you're shooting the things with a actual bullet or a nail gun, or literally I'm trying to figure out how this is supposed to be working. But in the hockey set, the hockey mask is the ranged weapon. Maybe it shoots pucks somehow. Again, if you're thinking about it, huh?
I was gonna say, let's chalk it up to magic.
Yeah, if you're thinking about it too hard, it makes less sense. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I recommend it a lot if you want something that's quick and easy to pick up and play, pretty much. And if you like, it's not so much like stealth, like being worried about if you get caught, everything gets ruined, because you do get 3 hits even if you do get seen, and you can get armor that gives you extra hits.
And it's
more like,
as long as you have resources, are you like nigh invulnerable, or can you still be injured even if like they see you and like?
if you have weapons, if you have a gun, you shoot them before they can shoot you.
So you always shoot first.
I mean, if they survive, then they can still hit you, but that's only bosses that don't die in 1 hit. Unless there are grunts that don't die in 1 hit on further floors down that I've unlocked. But I think the way that this works is the idea is that you can kill everybody in 1 hit if you sneak up on them.
Fair enough.
And again, you only have 3 hits, so even in a boss, you need to be careful, but like not. You want to approach it thoughtfully. You want to be thinking, okay, I'll wait for this time, and then I'll sneak in and hit this guy, and this guy. Or I'll sneak by that camera and that camera so I can stand at that terminal for as long as it takes to unlock it, while that guy won't be there yet.
Because like the only thing that poses a real threat to you is the bosses, or
unless you have to be careful. You don't get many bullets. You can only carry 7 bullets, period. As far as I can tell, unless the magazine thing extends, and you only usually find like 4. And that, like, if you buy the weapons pack, you get 3 bullets with it. and then they drop very rarely. So, and sometimes you find them in treasure rooms. So, you have to be careful to either stab people or make sure you have enough guns, enough bullets to not have to worry about that.
Now, can you still evade gunfire, or is it just if they see you don't have a bullet, you're basically getting hit?
You can run away.
Ah.
I usually try to avoid having this happen. It's not super hard to avoid having it happen usually. I think the first shot will probably hit you, but then you can run and they'll lose interest. In my experience, like they don't chase you forever.
Mm.
So, do you guys have any questions that I can answer? I feel like I've done pretty good job of summing things up.
Pricing.
Yes, I was gonna wait until after you guys had yours. Anyway, the game I believe is $15, which is fairly standard for Wii U for Switch downloadable games, and before that for a lot of Wii U ones and Nintendo stuff.
Well, it's a standard for indies nowadays.
Yeah, it's a little more expensive than a lot of games on PC are, and certainly more expensive than things on mobile are. And we'll see how it's priced when it's released on other platforms. But I think this is a good price for it if you're going to be planning on playing it a lot, and I wouldn't have expected it to be less than that, really.
Yeah, it should be the same price on other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless they do a release discount thing. But other than that, I don't see this being like $9 on PC.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I was more thinking if they come out with a mobile version, it might have to be cheaper, but I'm not
That
even
would
that they
be
do
cheap.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
You just can't do $15 on mobile right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I overall recommend this to people who have a Switch now or who, when it comes out on other things, give it a try. Although I think having it on the Switch is probably one of the better platforms for it because of portability reasons, and this is a great game to like, oh, I'm waiting for an appointment.
Mm-hmm. So are like the levels bite-sized chunks then, or?
They're not quite bites. I mean, a run is going to be like 15 minutes probably max, unless you're super slow. Although, again, the further you go in the game, the longer they are. Because you unlock ways to get deeper into the base.
Fair enough.
So right now, I'm still at the phase where I've only unlocked the second tier. I'm not seeing a suspend option, but the Switch has a sort of general suspend ability, so you can just pause it and suspend with the Switch.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's pretty much my review, unless you guys have further questions that I haven't clarified to your satisfaction.
I think I'm good.
Have you talked about the sound yet?
Yeah, the music is very. I mean, it's Metal Gear-y.
Yeah. All right.
The sound effects are decent.
Yeah, I think that'll about do it then for Never Stop Sneakin'. So be sure to tune in after the break, where we'll be reviewing our final game, or at least our final regular game of 2017 in 12 orbits. I guess I should say we're going to attempt to review this because this is actually a local multiplayer game, and nobody around here had the more than one body required to really play the game. So
yeah, I was hoping to try to play it with one of my friends, but they weren't available.
Yeah. So we're gonna give it the old college try here, right? But that's something to keep in mind. Anyway.
Oh man, I unlocked the weapon, the Lost Skull of Skecklington. It's a skull that shoots things, and then like a Conan's or a He-Man sword.
Right.
So that's the kind of stuff that's in the game.
Duly noted. Until next time, I wish you good gaming.